Hello and welcome to RGS Validation and Review Process. In this tutorial I'll be showing you how to track your ethics and governance submissions through the validation and review process by a WA Health Ethics Committee or a Research Governance Office, as well as how to respond to requests for additional or revised documentation. Once the ethics and governance application forms and documents have a status of submitted, the Ethics and Research Governance Office administrators are sent a task to validate them. This is to ensure the correct forms and documents are submitted prior to formal review. Some ethics executive officers or EEOs use this as an opportunity to assist researchers to fine-tune their documents before they are reviewed by the Ethics Committee. In the long run, this helps to expedite the ethical approval process. This example demonstrates the ethics validation process, but the functionality and display is exactly the same for governance. When the validation is complete, the validation status will be displayed here for forms and here for documents, with three statuses like traffic lights. It can either be valid, a green light to review, error or additional information required, an amber pause to revise a formal document and resubmit it, or not valid, a red light stop for the formal document. It should not have been submitted and cannot be resubmitted to the Ethics Committee or RG office. When validation is complete, the outcome will be emailed to the Coordinating Principal Investigator, CPI, and the CPI Delegate for Ethics, and the Site-Specific Principal Investigator, PI, and PI Delegate for Governance. This will contain advice about the validation process, the validation outcome with comments if applicable, and a link to the Applications tab to view the validation outcome. In addition to the email, the validation assessment is viewable by clicking on the View hyperlink under the validation date. All project members can view a validation assessment for ethics, but only project members associated with the site can view them for governance. This screen will display the submission date, the hyperlinked form and documents, if you wish to open them, and their validation decision. If they have a status of error or not valid, a comment will be provided by the Ethics or Governance Administrator. For subsequent submissions, all previously submitted valid forms and documents will be displayed, building up like a package. If a form is validated as error, a new version, for example version 2, is created with the status of pending in the relevant Ethics or Governance Active section. Any new version will require re-editing before being marked complete and re-signed and authorised. A new version is not created if a form is marked as not valid. Once the SSA and budget form are initially submitted together, they continue through the validation and review process as separate entities, so that they can have two different statuses and versions. This means that either form can be re-edited and re-signed and authorised independently from each other, which saves researchers having to re-invite hospital administrators to re-sign both forms. If a document is validated as error, a new version can be uploaded and submitted. When you're entering the document details, ensure you have updated the version number and date. Then submit as usual. The Comments tab allows project members and Ethics and Research Governance Office administrators to post comments and email them to each other. This is useful if all forms and documents are valid, but the administrator wishes to request an additional document from the researcher. Comments can be made against both ethics and governance applications, as well as monitoring submissions. Enter a title for your comment, select the relevant category, and enter your comment. For governance, you may like to select the site the comment applies to, if relevant, and then save. The number of comments in the tab is flagged here and is displayed for 7 days. The number of comments against a category is also displayed. A comment can be removed by the initiator and administrators, flagged as inappropriate by any project member, which will be sent a task to the Ethics or Research Governance Office to review and either allow or remove the comment. as well as the ability to email the comment. Please be mindful that when you post a comment, no automatic notification is sent from the system, so you must email a link to the comment to the researcher or the administrator so they know it is there. The email will contain the PRN, comment title and a link to the comment. For ethics, the valid ethics package will be added to the next available ethics committee meeting. Following the meeting, the EEO will enter an approval status against each form and each document, which is viewable in the submitted grid. This will change the status from a validation status to a review status. Prior to approval, the project ethics status will be under review. The Ethics Committee have the ability to either approve or not approve a document. It will be marked as under review until the whole ethics package is approved. Documents can be approved, noted, or not approved. These statuses equate to either a green light or red light outcome. If a form or document has the status of air, they will have to be resubmitted, as demonstrated in the validation process. Once resubmitted, they may be reviewed out of session or at the next Ethics Committee meeting. Following the ethics meeting, the CPI and the CPI delegate will be emailed a letter regarding the outcome of the project's ethical review. If the project outcome is air, the letter and other possible attachments will outline the requested information. These are also viewable in RGS through this link. This information should be provided within 4 months, if not the HREC may withdraw the project. The EEO will enter the project's approval status in the system. The Lead Human Research Ethics Committee status will be displayed in the project header. This will progress from pending to under review, if aired, to either approved or not approved. If approved, the form now has a status of approved with an approval decision date. The documents will also show approved with an approval decision date. If the project is approved, the CPI and the CPI delegate will be emailed the approval letter with approved documents listed. Any documents with the status of noted will not be listed. Likewise, if not approved, they will also receive a letter. This example demonstrates a scenario when the lead HREC is external to WA Health and there is no additional WA Health Specialist HREC. Following the submission of the ethics forms and the documents to the RG office, the RGO will validate them. Any non-valid documents will be marked as not valid. The RGO will then enter the lead HREC's approval decision date in the system. The submission status will then change to approved with the HREC approval date shown. As forms and documents are not submitted as a package to the RG office, they will wait until the application contains enough valid documentation before undertaking a review. Following the governance review, the Research Governance Officer, or RGO, will enter a review status against each form and document, which is viewable in the submitted grid. This will change the status from a validation status to a review status. The RGO has the ability to either recommend or not recommend a form. It will be marked as under review until the whole governance package is authorised. Documents can also be recommended, not recommended, noted, for example with a cover letter, or marked as not for review when an incorrect document has been submitted. Additionally, a form or document may be given a status of under review if the RGO is waiting on further information before making a decision. These statuses equate to either a green light or red light outcome. If a form or document has the status of air, they will have to be resubmitted following the same process demonstrated in validation. Once resubmitted, they will be reviewed again by the RGO. Following the RGO's review, if the review outcome is air, the PI and the PI delegate will be emailed a letter requesting the additional information, which should also be provided within 4 months. Once the RGO has finalised the review of the governance forms and documents and allocated a review status against each one, They will invite the Chief Executive to review the forms and documents and make a recommendation regarding site authorisation. The Chief Executive will make a decision on whether to authorise, note or not authorise each form and document, as well as authorise or not authorise the site. The project site authorisation status will be displayed in the Summary tab, though the authorisation status of the governance forms will also reflect whether the project has received site authorisation or not. If the project receives site authorisation, the PI and PI delegate will be emailed the authorisation letter with the authorised documents listed. Any documents with the status of noted will not be listed. Likewise, they will also receive a letter if site authorisation is not granted. Thank you for watching this tutorial. I hope you have found it informative.